The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Wednesday, the 5th day of April 2023. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, and Lindo's. I'm Jamel Hartman. She's Sherry Vanderpool, and Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Sister Sherry, happy Wednesday to you.
Happy Wednesday, Jamel, and brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies. Well, let me tell you, this is awesome.
Yeah. Do you know what they sell? Like they sell like parts to your toilet, plumbing supplies, electrical stuff.
No, I didn't know all the stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go through it one day, but I think when you think of the BAC Group, People's Pharmacy, NMAC, Lindo's, ER Fisheries, when you think of Medical House, all of our partners really have everything you need. You need not go anywhere else in Bermuda.
Exactly, food, clothing, shelter.
Yeah.
Because People's Pharmacy, you can find anything.
Oh yeah, you could get the toys, right? You get the toys for you get something for the children, keep them happy while you're taking your meds and need a knockout, right? But yeah. It's
Wow, this is awesome.
Yeah, for sure. It's awesome having the support of these companies, and because of them, we can do our best to continue to behave while we run the cameras on, and you know how she keeps me under all, folks.
Well, as I say, Jamal doesn't behave on camera, and I don't behave off camera. So it's a great balance, right?
Yeah.
I heard you talking about me yesterday.
Me? What'd I say?
It was a good, Sherry, tells me like it is. All jokes aside, Sherry does, and I was like, all right, Jamal, stop telling everybody.
No, they need to know. They need to know. They need to know. I'm gonna get some video of you one day. But anyway, good morning to you, Tyra Simmons. Good morning, Shayna Smith. Folks, greetings everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Garita Coddington of KPMG. She's coming on. We're going to discuss more about what they're doing to engage students in Bermuda. The Daily Play is focused on Good Friday this week, so it's been pretty fun. I'm getting sick and tired of Larry Marshall Jr. playing with me though.
Yesterday was something.
You see, but he's been doing that lately, like acting like and then just saying it, right? And I don't
know, Dale Butler.
Yeah, you know what? Like I'm gonna get him back. I'm gonna get him back when I see him in person. I'm tripping. But anyway, folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website if you haven't already. Just go on thedailyhour.com and put your information in. We're gonna be sending out a lot of stuff, some different things, offers for some of our sponsors and so on, so you don't want to miss that stuff. And make sure you follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. But Sherry, we asked a question on our Instagram the other day, and it seems like 80% of the respondents prefer raisins in their hot cross buns. And a quick question before we get into today's conversation. Do you all prefer raisins, or are you raisins in or raisins out with your hot cross buns? What did you say, Sherry?
Yeah, no, like who wants a cinnamon roll? Because that's what it is. Without the raisins, that's the whole. You need the whole thing. that sweet and savory, the raisins just add like,
Mm.
come on, folks. Like,
You talking about it like that, Sherry, just put me like 10 pounds extra on you.
oh yeah, I got the Holy Grail
Yeah.
fish cake recipe from my stepmother. We had this conversation before, and I will be making that on Thursday, so I'm quite excited.
Yeah. So you're making hot cross one, Sherry?
No, I don't do that. I do have a cousin out here named Tamisha. I'm gonna put her out like that.
Okay.
Who's from Union, and I put
Uh,
water in. Said Tamisha, if you're listening, I'm coming on Thursday. Don't forget.
Okay, raisins in or raisins out. Sherry's not sending me any. Charlie Trotty says raisins in. Tyra Simmons says raisins out. Karen Simmons says yes, raisins in. Shana Smith says a hot cross bun without raisins is just a dinner roll.
Thank you, Shanna.
Rondell Richardson says out. Raisins in, says Renee Simmons. In, says Ebony Souza. In, says Nana Pamela Witt. We've got in for sure, Sean DeShields. And Tyra Simmons says, as a child, I ate so much raisins that now I can't stand them.
Yes, Tyra.
Nicole Walker says, exactly. It ain't a hot cross bun without the raisins. So I think we've got a raisins in crowd. I'm going to say Maya basically said raisins in, people grow up. That's right. Raisins in. I'm raisins in. So we're going to say the majority of the crowd's raisins in. But folks, if any of you would like my address to send me some raisins in hot cross buns, just hit your brother up on the side. Because what happened is I went to Whole Foods last year. I thought I told you guys this story, and they had hot cross buns, but they didn't have the raisins. They had what's that stuff you put the fruit stuff in?
Yeah, fruit. I don't know, but it's like cranberry. It's like the
green color. Yes, there's different color fruit looking candy things in it, and I'm like, this is not hot cross buns. Like this is like fruitcake buns or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Fruitcake buns. That's what they make. That's not hot cross. So take that hot cross bun off the top of it and say fruitcake bun. I was heavily offended as a Bermudian. I'm not accepting that they when in Rome do as the Romans do. No. Don't disrespect the hot cross. Yeah. All right.
But look, Jamal, real quick, sorry. And can we, well, and probably for another conversation, but codfish out here in United States of America is expensive.
Well, no, we're gonna get to the fish cakes. Don't worry. We're going to get to the fish cakes.
Oh, my goodness. But you're not getting any hot correspondence. You don't even give out your telephone number, let alone your address.
Oh, this is true. This is true. Mixed peel. That's what it's called. Mixed peel. Yes. They have mixed peel freaking hot cross buns. Rosalind Famous says, I used to be no raisins, but I've matured. Charles says, hot cross buns without raisins isn't a thing. BTA asking the question leads to visitor confusion. Well, yeah.
I can't stand Charles.
Well, no, I mean, the Daily Hour asking the questions one thing, the BTA asking the questions another. But yeah. Mixed peel, we can all agree mixed peel is nasty. Well, folks, let's get into today's conversation. Speaking of tourism, I'll just put it out there. How do you feel about residential units at Fairmont Southampton Resort? How do you feel about residential units at Fairmont Southampton Resort? Now, we've had this conversation before, but basically, there's a story in the Gazette, the Royal Gazette, Trust, which is the National Trust, urges public to oppose Southampton Princess SDO, right? And SDO is Special Development Order, I believe. Basically, the Bermuda National Trust, in a letter signed by its executive director, Karen Border, said that the properties will have a severe negative impact on the site's tourism offering and the environment in general. It came after West End Properties, an affiliate of the Miami-based investment firm GenCom, unveiled plans to area residents to add a total of 261 units to the resort in a phased construction project expected to last up to 20 years. Well, I just want to stick on the, I'll read this part. Their primary concern with the addition of the 147 residential units, most of which will be sold to foreign buyers as second homes and would bring very little benefit to Bermuda and Bermudians. So that's one of their concerns. Here's my concern before the audience jumps on. Here's my concern with residential units. I've told you this story before, but I think I'll tell it over and over because I just feel people don't get it. I know you all think I'm negative Nancy at times and I complain, but I always say, if you can call me a liar, that's one thing. If you can tell me I'm not telling the truth, that's one thing. But at the end of the day, what was that hotel property, small property down Flats? They closed. They were going to build some units, and then it never opened again as a hotel. Was it Palmetto Bay?
It's across the street from that restaurant. What is it called? And it used to have brunch, right?
Yep, that's the last place. I had brunch
Yeah.
down there. Yep.
Somebody in the audience would know. Auntie Karen, let us know the name.
But I think what's interesting is I remembered that, right? So when I was working at the Bermuda Tourism Authority, we went up to Morgan's Point, and that's Caroline Bay, as they call it, right? And they were supposed to be building a Ritz there, a Ritz. And when we went up there, they were giving us a tour and talking about the residential units. And I remember saying he was at the BTA at the time. He's now receiving awards in Boston for his being a black man, I guess, at least in color. But I said to this gentleman at the time in the BTA, I said, you really think that this hotel is going to be built if they're building the residential units? Right? Oh, yes. And, he's Mr. Positivity and I'm Mr. Negativity, right? Whatever. And I'm just like, we really have a problem with reality in Bermuda. We have a problem. We literally gloss over everything to make ourselves feel better, to make people's feeling like people feel good. But I said at that time, negative Nancy in the BTA, I said, this hotel ain't going to be built. I said, any developer in Bermuda, they want to make their money back before building into a hotel that they don't think they're going to make any money from. So why am I saying all that? My personal opinion, how do I feel about residential units at the Fairmont Southampton Resort? Unless that hotel is built and flourishing, I do not see how residential units are going to benefit Bermuda. If those residential units are built first or along with the hotel, those residential units will always take priority. Why? Because building and selling, they believe, will generate them more money. And when I say money, not revenue, but make them a profit. Because at the end of the day, they're investors. And what do investors do? They invest so that they can get a return. So I really want Bermudians to think and stop worrying about who tells you what you want to hear. Stop worrying about feeling good about stuff. Because, that's how we end up where we are now, in a very bad place economically. So, folks, question of the morning, how do you feel about residential units at the Fairmont Southampton Resort? Sherry?
Well, and Jamal, we don't always agree with everything, but I do agree with you in just even looking at it in just the simplest of forms. There's a hotel, there's units, and it's very simple. We need revenue and income. And I just feel like when I read that article, I was like, what? Like, what is really going on? What are we trying to do? And what are we being suckered into? And I say it like that because first we were all about Southampton Princess. We need to get it up and running. And now it's like, where did residential units come from? How can it benefit us? I don't think it can until we can get Southampton Princess up and running back to the potential of what it used to be. Now, times change and things need to elevate. I get that. But again, I just felt like reading that article was just, and then the comment of it's to be sold to foreign buyers. It just felt like, okay, so what is it for the Bermudian people? I felt like we was in a chokehold, or this is where they are and this is where we are. Like, you're not building it for us to purchase. Like, how is it, like, what is it doing for Bermuda and Bermudians?
Yeah, and I think, and I'd love to ask Neville Grant. Neville Grant at Bermuda Commercial Bank. I know you're championing with the government opportunities for Bermudians to buy homes. Well, will the Bermudians have the opportunity to buy these homes?
Like any Bermudians.
Yeah. I just look. It's just very interesting to me. Just the whole setup. It hasn't worked. I guess the question is, it didn't quite work out for Newstead. It hasn't worked out for Rosewood Tucker's Point. As far as I know, the Reefs may have had some trouble as well. Audience, tell me if I'm wrong. Has this model worked in Bermuda for the benefit of Bermudians as of yet? Let's go to the audience, folks. How do you feel about residential units at the Fairmount Southampton Resort? Traveling Trotty says, build, rent/renovate the hotel first, then we can explore the condos. We have too many properties that don't build the hotel portion. Absolutely.
Traveling Trotty. That's immediate. I'm like, okay, Carolina Bay. What's the other one across from on South Shore, Jamal? That's just sitting there on the edge of the cliff. It's just like, come on. And I know those weren't hotels, but it's just like, when are we going to finish completing projects that we said we're going to do X, Y, and Z?
Ariel Sands down there as well.
And Southlands, over by Southlands.
There's quite a few. I mean, look, Albo's not even. It's Bermuda has so many properties not opened. I know Bermudians are hard on the BTA, are hard on tourism overall, but I mean, here's the honest truth. Can we be honest here today? Like, can we have a real serious moment? Like, all jokes aside, Bermuda's in a very messed up place as it is with tourism. Like, it's really bad.
Yeah,
it's not good. And at the end of the day, truthfully, I probably, if it weren't for money, I wouldn't work at the BTA. Take the bones out of that. Yeah.
Pick the bones.
No, I said take. Don't take. I know what I said. Take the burns out of that. Sean DeShield says building residential units is the only way Southampton Princess investors will generate enough revenue to be viable, as the traditional hotel model isn't profitable in Bermuda anymore. Exactly, and that's why it continues to go that route. But it doesn't benefit Bermuda and Bermudians. That's the thing, right? And I think someone asked the question about, is this part of the tax concession that they're going to receive, right? These are questions that are necessary. Renee Simmons says some residential units are right on the golf course. Imagine in your kitchen and a golf ball flies through your window and knocks you out. I'm not laughing. Oh, I am laughing. But valid point. Valid point. Could you imagine, Sherry?
I think about that riding across the golf course. So I'll be in the kitchen,
Yeah, nah, I feel you. Yeah, Traveling Trotty asks, does the concession extend to the condos portion of this development? Which to me is a valid question, right? It's a valid question. Sean DeShields, how will the additional residential units generate the promised 800 jobs? Oh boy. Folks, I tell you what, remember leading up to the 2012 election, the OBA and former Premier Culinary would always say 2,000 jobs, right? And then the PLP with this 800 jobs. I think both are stupid. Personally, government can't guarantee jobs. They can create legislation and policies that allow for people to create jobs. But with this 800 jobs, the way the world works, right? Like I saw some silly people talking about making Bermuda College into a 4-year thing, arguing about it on Twitter like 2 weeks ago. And the Premier and I actually had a talk about this about 2 years ago. And I was champion, like, yeah, let's make it 4 year. But then, folks, and I say this with all due respect, the birth rate hasn't just declined in Bermuda. The amount of US colleges and universities that are in trouble because the boom that's no longer booming, there are less children, less people, but not even just that. Less people actually seek Like just yesterday, 56%, I was reading a story, 56% of Americans don't even believe a college is still worth going to. That will rise to about 70, 80%. It's formal education. More and more people are realizing as AI takes over. Come on now. We had a survey on Bermuda BCG LinkedIn about, do you feel AI will take your job? And I'm like, people obviously don't read or just don't comprehend. AI can take every last job, probably about 1% of the jobs.
Yeah.
No matter what you do, AI can take your job.
I was gobsmacked, as they say, with that information.
Shocked that people think AI can't take their job. Shocked. Like, folks, I'm in sales. AI can deliver. Now, there will still be jobs because whatever man makes breaks, right? So people will have to oversee programs and so on. But all of that to say, I think we need to snap out of whatever we're in, whatever trance we're in, and have a sense of reality. The reality is, as far as Bermuda goes, tourism's in a bad spot.
Yeah.
I'm on social media, and I know you all are too, and you see all these black celebrities, Turks and Caicos, Anguilla. Folks, ain't nobody heard about Turks and Caicos and Anguilla 20 years ago. Everything about 30, 40 years ago, Bermuda this, Bermuda that. I go places, where are you from? But oh, yes. My grandparents went there for their honeymoon. Yeah, my grandparents. Yeah. So you been? No, I haven't been, but I've been to the Bahamas. I've been to look, one of my closest friends is from Turks and Caicos, right? And I tell you no lies. When we were in college, met some ladies, and I told the story on the show before, but it's important. Oh, where are you from, Bermuda? And she was like, oh, okay, yeah. Where are you from? I'm from TCI, so they call it. What's that? Turks and Caicos. What's that? Did you just make that up? Well, from a place nobody knew about, they're kicking Bermuda's ass right now. And why is that? And Turks and Caicos just changed their policy. What's it called? Their vaccine, not their travel policy, COVID policy.
Okay.
They were still winning. Why? Because they have a better product. They get it. They get it.
You're about to get it if you don't let Maya in.
Let's go through these last few comments. Sherry's talking about Bermudiana Hotel. Yes, up South Shore there.
South Shore, yes.
Yeah. Samcat Place, how can we have a tourism product with little to no rooms? It's not rocket science. I mean, I've got hotels here in Palm Beach with more rooms than the entire island of Bermuda. So you're absolutely correct. Ebony says, Sherry, good point. So many unfinished projects. Yeah, it's incredible. Let's bring Maya in before Sherry gets in trouble, folks. I don't want that for Sherry today. You know, Maya's pretty strict.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hi, Maya. I tried to get you in about 5 minutes ago, and then Sherry said, no, hold on. I've got something else to say. But how are you today?
I'm good. This conversation is just reminding me of, like, I don't know why when you guys talking about AI, my mind went straight to iRobot with Will Smith. And just like how things might like go or end up in the future. That movie always like made me think
of Terminator and stuff like that. Yeah. And Maya, we're going to next week. We're going to the National Association of Broadcasting, and there was a thing, and I'm not sure what you're doing, but it was a thing on there about storytelling with AI, right? And it was a couple of different sessions about AI. Are you planning on going to any AI things at all? I wasn't. I'm gonna be honest with you because I don't want to be scared.
No, I read some storytelling. I'll check it out though because I'd go to that to see what the future would hold for it. Like obviously that's like replacing journalists in a sense. It can. Because you really don't know what's real or what's fake right now. When people post things online with photos and videos, you're just like, AI has gotten so like like insanely good. It's just like they need to put like a warning or something on top of like you'll
Now you
never
need to
know.
go to the session and see how you can work with this fella AI.
If only, right? If only. But what's interesting though is like, let's use satellite radio, right? I remember when Howard Stern got that big deal and they said, oh, satellite radio is going to eliminate terrestrial radio. Like, look, but what helped is people were able to relate with local people. That's what helped local radio stations and TV stations stay there, because people wanted relatable people rather than all the national syndicate. So I think in a Bermuda sense, I think one thing Bermudians tend to do is they will always switch to that local radio station to hear the news at a certain time. They will always, come on the Daily Hour. I see, what's that news story Maya's got? Thank you all for the responses you gave the other day. I haven't forwarded them all to her. I don't want to overwhelm her. She doesn't like when I text her too much. But seriously though, like people will come, like Bermudians have a tendency to a desire for local news. And I think that's what will always help in that respect. But even with that, we can't be so arrogant to act as if, Bermudians will still come to us. We don't care about AI, right? We still have to understand it and take the threat seriously, right?
Because there might be a time I have to come on here and be like, prove that you're human by picking these photos before you even plug in. Like, you never know. Like, the future is so...
I am not a robot.
All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll bring right into the news. So, top story leading off today. So, between April 1st of 2022 and April 1st of 2023, there have been a total of 25 bladed article injury incidents reported to and investigated by the police. 3 of these incidents have resulted in death, which have been investigated as murders, and suspects have been arrested. The ages of the victims of bladed article attacks range from the age of 13 years old to 52 years old of age, suggesting that age is not a barrier to becoming a victim of knife crime. Now, out of the 25 incidents, 24 of the victims were male and 1 was female. In the other case, the ages of the suspects in these matters range from 14 to 46 years of age, with 50% of the suspects in their 20s. Police are particularly concerned with trends of young people of school age carrying bladed items, and we urge parents, they say, to talk to their children to make them aware of the dangers of knife crime and the serious injuries that can be inflicted with a bladed article.
There is so much to say about that hill. That is so much to say.
Maya, I know. I'm sorry, but I was literally looking at the weapons there. So forgive me, but those were actual weapons that were taken, or that's a stock photo?
No, those are the actual weapons that were taken over the period of time.
Okay, real quick. I just want to see the picture one more time. And you
sure.
Can
I'm actually going to bring up a video that's going to have this picture in it. So take a look at this. This is a sergeant who's explaining one of the bladed articles.
Well, it is illegal because it's concealed inside of a belt. Even though the cutting edge is less than 3 inches, then it's a concealed carried weapon, and it is in legislation that is prohibited.
That's my first cousin there, mom sisters. But I don't know. I guess I don't want to sound overprivileged or like I come from this special place, but I just find it's insane that people carry these. And did they explain, or did they say,
in what situations?
Were these just were people carrying them for protection, or were they using them for work? Like why is anyone carrying these weapons?
In some incidents, they said that some people just had them for like, because they felt like they're going to be threatened that day or something. So protection, but it's still, it's still illegal. You shouldn't have, if you feel threatened, you should go to the police about any situation. That's what they said in their press statement.
Because how are you carrying around big ones? I'm sorry.
But a lot of them are premeditated attacks. Again, I'll show you the images of the knives one more time. But yeah, and they said that 3 of these weapons were the weapons that were used in the deaths of 3 murders.
Wow. All right. Wow, folks. Yeah. there's consequences to carrying those weapons.
Mhm.
I'll leave it at that.
And the weapons and the age gap. I mean, like I said, we could have a whole nother conversation, but the ages was surprising as well.
Quite. To have as young as 14 being a suspect, that is incredibly young. And it really makes you think like, okay, well, who's putting this into their mind that this is okay or this is something that they should do?
Yeah.
Okay. So next up, coming on the list, we're talking passports right now. So a little video for you. The UK Passport Office strike will not impact Bermuda British Overseas Territory on passport applications, says the Ministry of Economy and Labour. If you didn't know, more than 1,000 passport office workers in the UK began a 5-week strike on April 13 in a dispute over jobs, pay, pension, and conditions. Since March of 17, the Department of Immigration has sought information on the impact on Bermuda British Overseas Territory citizens' passport applications. His Majesty's Passport Office recently advised the ministry that the previously stated passport processing time frames of 11 weeks will remain unchanged.
I'm just glad I don't have to deal with no passport situations. Now, I feel for Bermudians who have been going. No, sir. Look, a passport's a privilege, right? I don't agree with boundaries and borders and immigration, but that's another show. But it is a privilege. But to get that privilege, it shouldn't be so difficult. I remember getting a passport used to be so easy. Like, I'll give you this example. I reapplied for my UK passport in 2018. I got it within 2 weeks, so fast I thought it was fake. Like, I legit spent almost a couple of days trying to figure out if this is the real thing. My US passport, I reapplied for it. I applied for the first time in August last year, got it within 2 weeks. My niece reapplied for her US passport in the consulate in Bermuda and got hers in less than 2 weeks, even less than me, right? It's not that difficult. It shouldn't be that difficult. And then to add on that a strike, and we're supposed to believe Jason Hayward? Anyway, let me sip my, what's this I'm drinking? Peach Paradise.
Well, coming up on the news break as well, we all know that Good Friday is approaching us. Well, Bermuda Skyport Corporation Limited would like to remind the public of kite flying restrictions in effect and warns against flying kites that could potentially be a hazard to aircraft, potentially near takeoff and landing sites. To ensure the safety of passengers and the general public, Skyport advises that kites should not be flown more than 30 meters or approximately 100 feet above ground in the Ferry Reach area along Kinley Field Road and the Clearwater area of St. David's. Those are the locations that you see there that are marked in red. These areas are located near the airport, and if kites are flown in these areas, they could end up in the path of aircrafts as they approach or take off from the airport.
You know, this is like telling people to use their lights while they're driving at night so other people can see you and so that you can see. Like, folks, I'm going to tell you what they won't say. Don't be stupid.
Everybody's logic isn't the same, unfortunately, Jamal. They feel like they're not right on the runway, so it can't be a problem.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. This information is important. Yeah.
It is. But like you say, like sometimes you just, worry about the family and the excitement of the day. These things don't really come past your mind when you're just ready to go out there and be a family. So
yeah. Don't fly kites where airplanes are likely flying, folks. Don't do it. All right.
Next up on our list, some happy news. Spring to the Arts is back after quite a long hiatus. The Commissioner of Education, Ms. Kamal Richards, says Spring to the Arts is an amazing opportunity to rally around the support of our young people. Students across the island are working hard to bring you an exploration of creativity. I encourage all Bermuda residents to come out to these events to support our students as we bring back this wonderful annual festival. After a 3-year break imposed by the pandemic, the annual festivities is back this spring. Beginning in April and throughout the month of May, the festivities will feature visual arts, dance, drama, and poetry from the students at primary, middle, and senior levels. So Spring into the Arts is back.
I love it. Love.
I was literally just with my mother last weekend because she's an art teacher at 2 schools. And right now I know it's a little bit much for her because she has to do 2 shows for the Spring into the Arts and also 2 shows for the egg show that's coming up as well. So getting everything together. So I feel for all the art teachers and music teachers and everything right now, trying to gather everything back after not having to do it for quite a time. It's going to be a lot of effort put in by them to make sure the show goes smoothly. So
It's art time.
And more of Easter coming through earlier yesterday, April 4th, Her Excellency the Governor, Miss Rita Lauji, continued the annual tradition of picking Easter lilies, which this year will be sent to His Majesty King Charles III. The Easter lilies were selected from Windy Bake Farm, that's Malcolm Smith in the picture next to the Governor, and will depart on the British Airways flight. They are expected to reach the castle on Good Friday.
You know, I did wonder if that we were still going to send lilies now that the Queen had passed, because I'm being honestly, folks, do men usually receive flowers? I did wonder about this. This is actually for me the trivia question in the holiday edition, because traditionally we sent the Queen Easter lilies. So
Yeah.
I have no problem with the tradition continuing, but I that's the answer. I guess Maya just answered my question that I was wondering.
Yeah, I mean, I just see this horrible statement, or sad, actually, not really horrible, sad statement. The woman was saying, like, oh, most men don't really get flowers until the funeral. And I was like, I hate that. I hate that.
Oh,
So
But
we got
that's
to change that narrative.
a valid point. Like, honestly,
I like dirty flowers.
no, but that's a valid point. Like, what? Why don't men receive flowers?
Patriarchy.
Interesting. Okay, I'll leave it alone. But I thought it. Thank you, Maya, for answering. The king is getting flowers, so why shouldn't your kings get flowers too? This is on you. Oh, you like how I did that?
I can't.
Have we got the weather next or something, Maya?
We do have the weather next, just right after I talk about trash collection. So obviously Good Friday is the 7th, so there will be no trash pickup that day. The collection will be the next day on the 8th, and it'll also be picking up all the aluminums as well. So you can put out your trash and your recycling too on that day. For those who do get normal pickups on Friday, obviously.
I ain't gonna go there.
So the weather has a mix of sun and clouds today and a chance of an early shower. So hopefully we've gone past that chance because it's looking okay outside, just a little bit cloudy. But on Friday, we're actually calling for plenty of sunshine. So that's really great news.
All righty.
Awesome.
All righty. What you got for Dance of the Year, Sister Sherry?
Well, thank goodness I watched the show yesterday, because I definitely picked the wrong day. I was like, Carrot Day, that's my day. Go back and look. It was the wrong day I picked. I had a whole section, but today is self-care day. In the hustle and bustle of life, we tend to put our needs and well-being on the back burner at times. Taking care of oneself is integral to keeping functioning properly. Our minds and bodies require adequate rest and care for optimal health and well-being. This day emphasizes the importance of self-care. So please take care of yourselves, prioritize yourself, and make it a habit.
What do you do for self-care, Sherry?
Not enough, but I'm gonna go get my hair done today. I'm gonna try to do a mani and pedi at some point soon. But I like massages, mani and pedi, and sometimes, Jamel, really self-care for me can be just sitting by myself, nothing on, and just doing some breathing and just relaxing, because I tend to be at times.
And what do you do, Maya, for self-care?
Self-care for me is doing my skincare routine and going for long walks is my self-care.
Audience, what do you do for self-care? I get a monthly massage. I have a membership, and I get twice a year facials. Things that I guess most men don't typically do, but
they do now, Jamel.
More men are starting to do it. But that's for me. And then every morning, like, I have this thing that I have to try to take 2 miles minimum jog before this show to like really get myself in a state to do this show and annoy all of you. But those are things that I would say top 3. It's really just finding ways to relax on my own and do for self. But I wish I would have known today was self-care day. I'm gonna start looking at you all's schedule, because I have to go back to finish my taxes today, and it's not looking good, folks. It's not looking good. Maya, thank you so much.
Oh, I need to put that on my list now. I'm like, hey, taxes are due. Let me get to that.
He's gonna have to take that massage off to help with his taxes.
Yeah, hear me out. Might have to cancel it. See you later, Maya. We'll talk to you soon. So
Bye, Maya.
don't go anywhere. We've got Garita Coddington coming up. We're going to be talking about KPMG is doing so many amazing things. And one of the things, as you saw with Brianna Buchanan, she came on last month and we were discussing the outreach program. They're doing some more amazing things and just opening doors for young Bermudians. So when we come back, we're going to discuss these opportunities with Garita Coddington. Stick with us.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's, I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dandytown Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. Sherry Vanderpool, I'm Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com, and follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we continue to do our part to improve our community. Without further ado, let's bring in our guest for the day. She's been here before. After the first time, we usually call you family. Garita Coddington from KPMG. Welcome. Let's get you in the middle.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's so nice, listening to the show. And Sherry, we know each other from university. Jamal, I've known you since whatever age, from my brother Jamiko.
Yes.
Please don't tell him I'm the same height as you remember me.
Listen, so much just ran.
Good people.
You know what? I meant to ask Sherry. I said, hold on. Were you guys in Huntsville at the same time? I wondered. Okay.
Yes. And, in all respect to Garita, but I'm just like, I can't. The nickname has always, I'm like, it's Garita.
Hey, don't worry. My family members don't even know my real name. Some family members.
But yes, we were in university together,
Yes.
and it was a pleasure to have shared that experience with Peaches / Garita. She was very much, very, and it's not a surprise where she is now in what she is, because that's how she was in university. So someone that I looked up to and was like, I need to be studious as well,
And true story. And if you remember the first time we had her on the show with Jamila Godwin, that's everything Jamila said about the leadership that Garita provides is what you kind of just said. So continuing that on, I don't want to say how many years later, but many years later, it's awesome to see. But I want to ask you, before we get into today's conversation, because we did ask the audience, Sherry said it's self-care day, what do they do? And Jamila Godwin said gym, massages. Karen Simmons says leisure reading, taking walks. Renee Simmons said I like taking to the ocean. Nicole Walker says massage, soak in a tub. What do you do, Garita, like to for self-care?
I do a couple of things. One thing that I love now is working out. So I do that twice a week, no matter what, Tuesdays and Thursdays. But I have a daily routine where it is very important for me, and those who I coach, I say, every day you need to take at least 30 minutes for yourself. So I have my morning routine where I wake up an extra 30 minutes earlier, whether it's giving gratitude, meditating, journaling, or just doing some type of learning where I'm listening to a podcast. It just feeds me. So Jamal, you said you run to prepare yourself for the show. I actually have to be able to replenish my thoughts and everything in the morning by just, being grounded and focusing on what I have to do for the day.
That's so important. Yeah, love
Every
it.
day I do, like every weekday. Weekends I sleep in.
No, that's important, folks.
That's good. It's important.
Weekends, I try. Saturdays, I try to do absolutely nothing. Don't even want to turn my computer on. So no, I agree. I just let my football team annoy me. Thankfully, North Village made me happy this weekend. But for those who don't know, obviously you've been on this show a couple times before. Just tell us a bit about your background, because you were at the top of the top, in education as a principal, but you've transitioned. Tell us about your background and your new role, or not so new to now, but your role at KPMG.
Okay, so I always knew my purpose in life was to support and assist people to develop their genius and be great at whatever it is that they wanted. I started in education. I'm in love with education. I have a degree in chemistry. I am not a chemist. I was a chemistry teacher. And I then, after 2 years, went and had the awesome opportunity to be in leadership roles. And it allowed me to grow from being in charge of a science department to a year level to being a mentor, a coach for the entire public school system, and then ultimately a principal for 10 years before I left. When I transitioned out of education, I knew that I needed something else to feed my soul. And that was, how do I engage adults to want to be better and want to be lifelong learners? So that was the transition to KPMG. It was weird because I've only applied to jobs in government and education, and I applied to for two jobs when I was looking to transition out. And luckily and gratefully, I was appointed the Senior Manager of Learning and Development for KPMG in Bermuda. And probably after a year, that then transitioned and morphed into something bigger, which I'm the Senior Manager of Learning and Development for the KPMG Island Groups, which is about 2,500 individuals that the team supports for learning and development, talent development, etc. So, I'm honored to have this opportunity. So on a daily basis, I'm speaking to people from all over the world to see how the team can support the growth of their team members.
I love everything about your story because, we've had people on this show previously talking about opportunities in the IB sector and how you can transition from education and the highest point in education into the IB sector. There's stories here, folks. It's not all about accounting or reinsurance or trust finance, the stuff that you may not have interest in. There are other opportunities in these spaces, and I think Garita is a perfect example of how transitions can take place. Again, we had Brianna on recently talking about the outreach program, but why is KPMG focused on raising its profile in the market with students, and how are you all trying to achieve this?
That's a good question. One of the roles I've transitioned to here lately is supporting our Liftoff program that was actually led by Wanda Armstrong. I know she came on the show numerous times and did a phenomenal job of selling what we do, and I say selling our product. But what we have to do now, and specifically based on the conversations that you were having this morning, from the whole piece about the real estate and looking at a different perspective of what's going to bring people into Bermuda. You talked about hotels, and then you talked about the violence. So we have to now focus on how do we get our young Bermudians from various sectors. I tell people I come from back of town. I'm so proud of it. I'm from the Jennings family, right? It's like 50 of us, and we weren't exposed all the time to what else was out there in the IB sector, right? And so we chose to go into careers that maybe that was the norm, but now it is very important for KPMG to build their awareness, to allow anyone from any background, from any part of Bermuda, right? Any school that they go to know that they have options in the and career opportunities in the financial services. So that's what we want to do. It is very important that we look to mold and help to mold the future leaders of Bermuda within our community. Again, I'm going to emphasize it doesn't matter the background, but how do we do that is to first engage with the young people. And our target audience is going to be starting from the middle school, from public, private, home schools. There are lots of young people that want to know more about financial services, and sometimes they don't even know what that actually entails. So we want to build awareness around what KPMG does to make us more of a conversation piece within the house, and to positively impact the lives of Bermudians. I'm about building leaders because we have to have a better future for our young people to want to aspire and be excited about. So when I'm very careful when I listen to the news, because it could very much damper your spirit, but it is the reality. But how do we now do, I call it the 2mm shift. There are little things that we can do, and KPMG is looking to do that, to change people's perspectives of what their future can look like.
Wow.
That's a long answer, but that's what we want to do.
No, and lots of great information in that long answer. I had a special message yesterday that, someone reached out to me and they were like, I understand that Garita's coming on to speak about stuff with students, specifically your Lift Off program. Tell us what that program is about and what does it offer for students?
The Lift Off program, I love it because it actually is telling, if you looked at our picture that we use to kind of speak about it, is actually someone lifting off, and it's a young person. So what it does is actually allow, again, people to have a vision of what their future could look like. So we have various aspects of the Lift Off program. First of all, we have to be able to get the information out there to Joe Public about what the Lift Off program entails, which it is, how do we take a young person that's interested in financial services, specifically in the accounting area, right, audit, and how do we bring them in and allow them to be molded, to be groomed, to know the KPMG way, to look at what their career can look like over time and go from what we deem as a staff accountant, which is an individual that has come to us from university, right? Or we have a new designation that I'm going to share with you that I'm excited about, but we then bring them in and then we mold them to go through the different levels of leadership, because we would love, like Brianna, we look forward to her one day being the first Bermudian to be a partner within KPMG. She's Bermudian, she's female, she ticks all the boxes. She's a person of color, and she started from receiving a scholarship under the Lift Off program. So that's what we're looking for. And again, our new perspective or new model is identifying young people at middle school level and giving them information about what KPMG does, who we are, what we stand for, what we do in the community, and actually wanting to take them on the journey to become a staff accountant, get our scholarships, and then groom them until they want to become partner. And we should take, we should be so happy about wanting to do that. If we can do that and make that a reality, i.e. Brianna Buchanan, then she molds someone to come after her. So it's like this catalytic effect. So the Lift Off program has various components. First of all, we want you to get scholarships, apply for our scholarships. Please go on bermudascholarship.bm, apply. You have until the end of the month, and we're interviewing early. So please apply. So we're looking for that sector to get applicants in. Then once you come in as a scholarship recipient, or you apply for our summer internships, you become part of our family. And then again, we allow you to see what we're doing. We have development centers for young people that come in to be professionally groomed for the future, not just within KPMG, but outside, even when they go back to university. We want individuals to have tools to compete with anyone, anywhere in the world. And then again, of course, they're working with the best of the best in the different functions, learning, growing, getting feedback, which is important. And again, we follow them, right, along their journey to allow them to come back and ultimately work for us.
Indeed.
Wow. And speaking of the liftoff program, what are some of the other programs KPMG is offering for students?
So it comes under the liftoff program, right? So one piece that we are excited about, we are revamping our work shadowing program. And again, looking to identify individuals at the middle and senior school level. So, coming in and working with some of our top managers to get as much information as possible. We even had this young man from Cedar Bridge Academy that actually emailed me. His parents emailed me because he had something to offer and wanted to sit down with, myself and our HR lead, Courtney Simons. And we also brought another staff accountant and Ricky Williams we didn't do an interview, but we had a discussion. We were so impressed that this young man had a vision for his future. And he was adamant that it's not going to look like the normal, route that some young people take. And we were so impressed that we then talked about what it could look like if we were able to engage with him. He was under the age of 16. So we were like, imagine him doing an interview for a scholarship. So, really targeting individuals that we would love that to come in and who live by our KPMG values and want to become part of this organization, because we need innovation, we need diversity, we need something to kind of allow us to look a little different at the top. So how do we groom individuals to actually do that is what we're doing. So that's the work shadow. We have the internship. Again, this comes under the liftoff program, right? Internship, where we are now, I think Courtney has finished all the interviews for looking to have placements for our summer internship. And again, they have an onboarding development center that we're so proud of, that we're going to be working with them. They will be given feedback like they are part of the professional team. And they actually will be working with the community, doing a community presentation and also work shadowing with some of our charitable organizations out there. So we also allow individuals that have received the scholarships, they have the opportunity to travel to represent KPMG. Okay, so we call it the Global Advantage Leadership Program. So we've had individuals travel to different parts of the world and learn more about leadership. It's all about leadership. So those are some of the things we do. One offering that we have, and I don't know if the other Big Four do it, is that when you become a staff accountant, we also offer that coaching piece. And I say everyone needs a coach. Sherry and Jamal, I don't know if you have coaches, but everyone needs a coach. So anyone coming in, they have the pleasure of being coached. I just happen to be the coach right now, but it's an exciting adventure to take with young people to talk about how are you going to pass your exams? How are you going to be effective with when you're doing engaging work with clients? And of course, how are you going to develop yourselves with your career journey? Because I feel we don't have that conversation enough with young people.
A couple questions from the audience, but folks, if you have any questions or comments for Garita, please put them in the comments. We do have actually Gemma says, "Hey, Auntie." So we have some fans in the audience. We have Pamela Wade, good to see you, Peaches, and Karen Simmons, also my former colleague at CBA, amazing teacher and leader.
Thank you, Karen.
You've got some people in the audience showing you love.
Some people, yeah.
Karen Simmons is asking, what is the academic criteria for the liftoff program and scholarships? Do you see this being a barrier with other pathway options?
So I'm going to answer the first question, and then I want Karen to actually specifically tell me of what she means as other pathway options. But the academic criteria, of course, we want individuals to have a certain GPA, at least a 3.0. I think that's important. But when we don't ask for an essay, we don't ask for you to write an essay. I feel that's important to some companies, but for KPMG, we're looking to see what you bring to the table. As far as you have to be Bermudian to get the scholarships, definitely. You have to have that GPA, but then we vet you and the team. I'm part of the scholarship committee, the panel, and we're looking for individuals that actually stand out. But the most important part is when they come and they interview with us as a panel. And how do they represent themselves is really important. So simple criteria. That's why I encourage as many people to apply. If they are interested in financial services, accounting as part of their future career aspirations. But you want to get us around the table. And I'm big on how do you allow us to remember you? What's so special about you? What have you done in the community? What is the evidence that you provide? And what is something that allows us to know that, hey, that person is someone that we can mold to be our future partner. So that's the first one, Karen. I hope I answered your question. And can I see the second question, please?
Do you see this being a barrier with other pathway options?
I just need clarity on that. I don't know what she means by a barrier.
Okay, no worries. And I don't know if it was my on my end, but what was the GPA? 2.0 or 3.0?
No, 3.0.
3.0. Okay.
An age limit. What's the age limit?
Oh, we actually have individuals from high school. As long as you're like S4, so what is that? 18?
Okay.
18. So we have given scholarships to high school students. It just doesn't go to university students, to those students that are transitioning to university, definitely. But the cool part is that once you get the scholarship, you're in the family, right? We bring you in, you get to do summer internships, you get to be part of our staff accountant group, right? And that's where we mold you. You do have to pass your designations and give us at least 3 years back. We really want that because we've invested in you. But the great thing is that you're getting $20,000 from the KPMG scholarship for 3 years. That's phenomenal, right? And it's also, I call it the carrot. And you get to be part of every time you come back to the office to work for us and work with us, I should say.
Nothing like having a job. Jamila Godwin says students who are in the internship program also take part in LinkedIn training, scholarship interview tips and tricks sessions, and professional etiquette sessions. Well, you know how I feel about LinkedIn training, folks.
I was going to be like, oh my goodness.
I made my day seeing that. Thank you for that. But speak to us about that, because we live in a social media obsessed time. And for me, I've grown, and this was something I didn't learn about LinkedIn until I was in graduate school. And it has been a valuable tool. Our new title sponsor, literally, most of the conversations took place on LinkedIn. Many people wouldn't know that. So how important is that part of it for people? I mean, we had, it was a young lady, she works in the IB sector. She said she has no social media, but she has LinkedIn. And I'm like, well, LinkedIn is social media, but I get her point. But how important is that kind of training?
I think it's very important. About 3 years ago, KPMG, the King Islands, actually made it mandatory for all our staff members, our team members, to have a LinkedIn learning account, because we want to obviously push the aspect of lifelong learning. When it comes to our Liftoff program members, our young people, the great thing is that once you come in and you work with us, not for us, with us, you get a LinkedIn learning account. So part of our onboarding development center or program that Jamila talked about includes, based on the goals the individual has, because you just don't want them to do anything. You want them to check out the site, but it's very much geared towards what it is that you want based on your goals to get out of your time with us. So we will recommend LinkedIn learning trainings that we would love for you to take. And some of them, of course, you get certifications. So it allows a young person to have a LinkedIn account and then be able to put that information on their account so they can brand themselves. Like Jamila's so big on, this branding of how you present yourself on social media. And she does that for the partners all the way down, right? So it's really important, but to allow individuals to know, even at this young age, developing that brand and showing that you're learning using the LinkedIn learning platform is so important. So we're excited about that. And again, that was launched during COVID. And that was one of the biggest projects that I had at the KIG level to actually, initiate and implement.
All right. Rosalind Famous says, this is an amazing model that can hopefully be replicated in different organizations across the island, not necessarily insurance. And then Tanisha Edwards, she's asking, all middle and high school students are required to have community service hours. Do you look at these volunteer interests when deciding on the candidates for the Liftoff program?
Definitely. Thank you, Tanisha. We definitely, part of the conversation when you're going for a scholarship or even being interviewed for a position at KPMG, we're definitely looking at what you're doing in the community. What is the evidence provided that you have made an impact? And no matter what that looks like, we are interested in having that conversation with you. So I implore that middle and high school students don't think, oh my God, I have to do this community service, I have to do anything. No, look at it as a stepping stone to having a future conversation with, your future employer, right? Of what you've done, and you tell your entire journey, because the impact you make on the community talks about who you are as an individual, and it sells you.
Awesome.
Alrighty. We've got Karen Simmons further explained. She said pathway options beyond the financial accounting areas. What are, or if other areas of KPMG?
Thank you, Karen. Now I know what you're talking about. Yes, not everybody wants to be an accountant, right? So we have a function called CSS, Central Support Services. That's where you have HR, you have L&D, Learning and Development, you have markets, which Jamila works for. You have where you have the finance people. That is our, the CFO. You have risk. You have different areas within KPMG that you can be a part of. So it's not just accounting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And Sherry, you had one more question, right?
I did. How can those interested learn more about this program?
Yes, please go on our website, www.kpmg.bm. To find out more information. But I want to share something that I'm really proud of that KPMG has adopted and is looking to implement. It is one of our designations, which is the ACCA program, Association of Chartered Certified Accountants. So the KPMG and Bermuda team have partnered with the KPMG Malta team, and we call it the ACCA designation. I look at it as the old school way of getting into organizations. So back in the day, some of our family members may have left high school and went straight into the industry. And while they were in the industry, they worked to get certifications. They didn't, for whatever reason, they did not choose to go overseas. It could have been financially, it could have been because they have to help family, or they could have just had to go and have a job to get some money to support XYZ. It doesn't matter. So we've now worked with the Malta team, the KPMG Malta team, who use this certification for a majority of their staff accountants to get their designation, where they come in, they apply for the job. Of course, there's a criteria. If you get accepted, you come in, you work for KPMG, you have 3 years to get your ACCA designation. And while you're working, KPMG is paying for your exams, they're paying for all your resources and materials. You work with the Malta team with mentoring to get extra tutorials. So it's a really cool way of being able to have individuals, and you don't just have to come from high school. It can be where you're looking for a second career, you're looking for something different, but you still are able to work, receive a salary, and still, work towards getting your designation over a 3-year period. Of course, after you receive your designation, we want you to give us 3 years back because of our investment. But I think it's really cool, and I'm really proud of that being part of our offering.
Indeed. Jody Virgil says, good morning to the H family, Garita and Jamila. What a wonderful opportunity for our young people. Lift off leadership and life skills is key. Garita, before you go, just remind people once again how they can get in contact with you all and learn more. Your website?
Yes, www.kpmg.bm. You can also email me at garita.coddington@kpmg.bm or Courtney Simons at kpmg.bm. That's our HR lead for the Liftoff program. She's phenomenal. We also have Jamila that's part of the markets, and to give Jamila props because she sets up everything behind the scenes. Jamila is actually our lead for the school outreach program. So I'm so proud of her stepping up to actually allow us to be able to maneuver into the space and work with the Ministry and Department of Education to get the word out.
Thank you, guys. I honestly thank you so much for trusting our platform to engage with us about such an important thing. We always say this show is really about improving our community one conversation at a time. And I hope that even though it may not benefit some of the people who tune in individually, they know someone who it may benefit. Bermuda is very small. So folks, share this information. Great. Thank you. Thank KPMG. Thanks, Jamila. Thank you all for coming by. And well, quick question before you go.
Yes.
So her brother and I, close friends, he was in my wedding. But we've been, since childhood, we have this running argument, cut match. We usually have a measuring contest. But can you please just send a message to the people of Bermuda and let them know that I am taller than your brother? This is a real life thing. People think
don't get into this.
Okay. I'll send a message.
Thanks so much. Have a good one.
Bye. Nice to see you, Sherry. Thank you.
Bye. Nice to see you too.
All right, folks. That was a good conversation. Folks, please share that conversation. Give us a love, a like. If you appreciated the information, please give us a like, a love. Share it with your friends, family, someone you know can benefit from that information. But don't go anywhere. We're coming right back. We're going to wrap it up. And we've got the daily play. And if you don't have your deck of Bermuda trivia cards, you can get the holiday edition and argue and fight with your family over marbles and Bermuda trivia this holiday season. So hit Bermuda Trivia up on bermudatrivia.com. But don't go anywhere. We'll come back, wrap this up. Sherry.
Hi, welcome to ER Fisheries. I'm Jalen Steed, store manager and trained chef, and I'm here to help you with all of your food needs. Let's talk about why you should come and check out ER Fisheries. We offer the widest range of specialty meats and seafood items at a price point that will absolutely fit your budget. As a chef, I'm able to answer all of your food questions, help you come up with meal ideas, and generally guide you in the right direction. You'll get a custom shopping experience unlike any other food store in Bermuda, where we'll cater to your needs and provide you with excellent customer service. Where else can you get quality cooking advice and quality products? I look forward to helping you with all your meal ideas.
All right. Thanks again to Garita Coddington, Jamila Godwin, all the great folks at KPMG for trusting this platform to have those conversations with us. Thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medical House Lenders, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we can have guests to come on and engage in these conversations. And folks, if you appreciate it, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. But I must say, it's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. Sherry, are you ready?
Okay, it's about Good Friday.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
This is a very easy question, easier than yesterday, the Fish Cake King. All right, here we go, folks. Everybody should know the answer. Most Bermudians use colorful blank paper to make their kites.
Tissue paper. Okay.
She didn't fall for it. She got it, folks. She didn't fall for it.
I didn't.
She didn't fall for it.
Do you make kites, Jamal, or have you?
Why are you getting all in my business?
Because that's what I do.
No, I don't make kites. Have I?
Really?
I did. He tried to teach me when I was young, but I didn't have the patience. He didn't have the patience either.
Yeah. I saw you making kites because I know sometimes you could be very particular about stuff, so I can see you doing that. So
yeah, I've probably once. I think we did it once. But I'm a person, I enjoy watching the art. That art, taking part in it. But everyone got it. Tissue paper. Yeah, it is tissue paper. So when you get your holiday edition, you all should know the answer to that. If anybody in your family doesn't know the answer, maybe it's time to tell them find a new family. Anyway,
somebody might have said a paper bag.
Well, that's the old-fashioned way. No, folks, where I come from, some people would take those marketplace bags and they'll create the kite. But hey. Anyway, let's wrap it up, Sherry. Final thoughts. We spoke about the hotels and the what's it called? Residential units, and then obviously we had a great conversation with Garita.
Well, Jamal, for me, it's like make it make sense. And that make it make sense part is about how does it affect Bermudians and what will it do for Bermudians? I don't know if residential units would be beneficial to us. Can we just stick to the basics right now and get up and running Southampton Princess and finish a project? Let's try that.
You're such an Bermudian.
Huh?
Yes,
Fairmont, the Fairmont Southampton Princess.
Hey, that is it's like Bermudians will never. They will always say May 24th. It could be on May 31st or 29th, May 24th. Bermudians will always say Southampton Princess. You could change the name to Marriott something. It's Southampton Princess, but no.
Yes, it is. Anyway, as far as Garita, as I said, going through university with her and seeing the dedication that she put to education was inspirational and phenomenal. So her being in this space with KPMG and involving us in the Liftoff program and the other programs that they have for students is absolutely awesome. And I do encourage people to Bermudians to share this information, as Jamal always says, take this conversation to the water cooler. We have some information, we have scholarships, we have lots, and KPMG have lots to offer. So definitely, find out more.
Indeed. I just want, as far as the conversation about the residential units, I would just want Bermudians to be aware, remain aware of what's taking place in the industry. This was promised in many other spaces and it hasn't really worked out. What's to make us to believe this is going to work out in the best interest of our tourism, Bermuda, and Bermudians? So ask some questions. I would just say ask questions and reach out to the Bermuda National Trust for more information about why they're against it. As far as Garita and KPMG, I appreciate it. I love that they have these opportunities. And I really, really want to remind people, if you choose to go the formal route and further your education, take advantage of the scholarships. I'm telling you, because the last thing you want to do is money out of your pocket, school loans. If there's an opportunity for you, get out there, apply for it. If you don't get one, there may be another. And then the opportunities that come afterwards. I know she's had a 3-year commitment from some in the programs. There are people who finish school and can't find jobs. Take advantage of it. It's a great, great opportunity. Sherry, you got some daily inspiration for us?
I do. Our daily inspiration is being brought to you by ER Fisheries. If you have a purpose in which you can believe, there's no end to the amount of things you can accomplish. And that's from Marian Anderson, and she was a performance of a range of music of opera to spirituals.
Love it, love it, love it. Folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we continue to do our part to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we will be back to do this again with you one more time this week tomorrow. She's Sherry Vanderpool. I'm Jamel Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. Mark's Arthur C. Phillips asks, where can we pick up the Bermuda Trivia game? Send an email to, go on the website, bermudatrivia.com, and send a message, and someone will respond to you as to where you can pick up the game. But People's Pharmacy Flying Colors, they have it there. So, yeah, folks, we're out. Peace.